Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now it's time for your weekend tech tip, brought to you by Chevy Silverado.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and thanks for sharing, calling up this morning and donating some stuff to the folks at Rods and Reels. How the heck did that happen? Oh, that's how it happened. Anyway, tech tip for today, easy one. Came up yesterday. We were talking with Scott Call a little bit about the tech tip that he brought in was that he always takes his own container filled with Lemon Joy. Question came in just before we got back here in this segment. Ultra Joy or original Lemon Joy? Okay. Ultra Joy will actually be okay, but not preferred. The original Lemon Joy is what you want. And there's ways that you can turn Ultra Joy into original just by watering it down. So it's just more of a concentrated thing. So to get really particular about that, it's a thing. As fisher people, we get pretty specific, and I totally understand. So I only have original Lemon Joy, and I always get mine at Fisherman's because they always have it. If you go to like a regular store, Freddy's or wherever, they don't even carry it. They just carry the Ultra Joy stuff. Right? But if you go to Fisherman's, at the very least, they have the original there most of the time. At least every time that I buy it, I see it, and I'm like, and I grab a bottle. Anyway, so that being said, that's how this question kind of came about, was how to clean out your stuffer baits. Because these things, this one happens to be the Simon stuffer bait that just killed it this year, apparently. But they can get just all kinds of weird stuff in there, right? The tuna, the different scents that you put in, the different additives that you put in, all these little nooks and crannies can get stuff in there. And when you start really analyzing or looking at your baits, after a while, you're going to start seeing that stuff just dried up in there. And none of that is good. It's all off-putting to salmon and steelhead, whatever you might be chasing with them. And kokanee. So really, you really do need to keep them very, very clean. So the best tip that we can give you on keeping these things clean is just like what Scott showed you yesterday, having a toothbrush or a small brush handy that you can just get in there and get that stuff out. And it's super important that you do it. These baits are not cheap, and if you just go ahead and let them get ruined because you're too lazy to clean them, well, that's on you, right? And it doesn't take, it takes very little negative stuff in a bait, no matter what kind of bait it is, for a fish to refuse it. It just makes it that much easier for them to go, nip, 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 I'm going to go someplace else. So just eliminate that. So get everything in and out of there. Again, toothpicks work great. I've even used my Kershaw knife right here where I'll get in there and I'll start digging stuff out because it just doesn't want to come out. So using your wash down system helps out where you can just, really blow some water in there. And if all else fails, if you can't get it out, this is where it gets tricky. One of the questions, and this is years ago, but it's about soaking them, right? Should I just soak them in hot water? No. Don't soak them in hot water. They're not designed to be sitting in hot water. It's terrible for the paint finish, depending on which manufacturer, which type you have. If that water is super hot and you just let it sit in there, bad things can happen. So don't do that. Just let it soak in soapy water, cold soapy water, and just let it soak. And then go back to it and start grinding on them. It's really important, though, that you get all of it out. One of the things that's nice about the new Skinny Mini, and we talked a bit about this yesterday with the ability to take the back off of it. I didn't want to say it to Scott when he was in here yesterday, but I'm like, really? The foam stuff? Just same thing, though, but with these Skinny Minis, being able to pull this back off, you can just get these things super clean, super easy. So that's another thing to kind of consider, but it's super, super important. Just make sure that you get everything out of them that you can so that those bait fish is as good as possible. Here's another tricky one. The cut plug from Yakima, you can see that it's pretty deep. What is that, a couple, 3 inches going down there? And that bait can get all the way down into the bottom. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's the kiss of death. The guy that designed it, Shane Magnuson, very specifically, get that out, okay? Again, all this stuff is not rocket science, all right? But it's super important. That's why the question was asked, how do you get it out of there? This is where I've used toothpicks, pieces of wire, my knife, to reach down in there and just disturb that stuff that's down in the bottom of it, down here in the tail, so that you can get it out, flush it out. And if it's not coming out with pressure from your washdown system or at the house, in the sink, whatever it might be, soak it, let it just kind of get to the point to where it'll start coming out, but you have to get it out. Don't be lazy with it, because you will just ruin a bait that, again, these things aren't cheap, so get those things clean. Now, all that being said, and again, original Lemon Joy, if you can't find that, the Ultra Joy will work fine. And quite honestly, you could really go a lot of different ways, but here's one that always works great. It's from Procure, the Badass Hand and Lure Soap. This doesn't have any scent to it, so you're not playing that game of, is the lemon scent helping? Is it not helping? It's just very neutral. I love it. I keep it, actually several of these in my boat until they fall over and then they leak everywhere on you. But they're great for your hands, great for your baits. So don't overlook soaking them in this as well. Super easy for that. So again, keep them clean. Now, as far as what to get them dirty with, okay, don't overthink this. The question just recently came in as far as the tuna that we use, is it in water or is it in oil? And you're gonna get, if you ask 10 different dudes that, you're gonna get 5 different answers, 50-50 maybe, about water and oil. I'm an oil person. I like just the chicken of the sea, right? What is that, Ryan? Bumblebee, right? Just the cheap stuff. It's just I believe it's an olive oil or some sort of oil that's in there. It's just a way to distribute more scent from that tuna. Does it really make a huge difference? Some of the best guys I know out there chasing kokanee, chasing salmon, they could care less. And if it's in water, they just buy it. As long as the tuna is in there, that's what you're looking for. But I buy the tuna in oil. That's just me. Again, others will have different opinions. And it doesn't have to just be tuna. Ground up coon shrimp, ground up prawns, chopped up herring, anchovy, all those things chopped up together, same thing. You need to come up with what you have confidence in, right? But 9 out of 10 people are going to take that chicken of the sea bumblebee, and that's what they're going to use, right? Okay, so that being said, don't get rid of any of the oil. If it's in water, don't get rid of any of that. Just put it into your container, and this is where you go a little bit mad scientist, okay? You've got so many different products from Procure that will help you catch more fish. I actually got, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I got an email or a message, whatever the heck you call it, on our Facebook page a while back. Somebody was saying, oh, it's just a scam. Scent's just a scam. It doesn't do anything to help you catch fish. Rookie, yeah, it makes a huge difference. And in these baits, it also makes a big difference. So don't get caught up in having one scent to stuff all your baits with. Have a base, right? Just straight tuna out of the can, all by itself. Don't add anything to it. So just separate some of that off to the side. Other stuff that you want to doctor up, again, this is where you go a little bit mad scientist, right? I do like to keep everything, though, fish-based or shrimp-based. If I'm going to add additives to the tuna, I don't like adding, say, the bloody tuna and then adding krill to it. Now, a lot of people will, okay? A lot of people will do that. I'm just not that guy. I like to put in a shrimp base and a fish base. So I'll do a couple different versions. I'll add in some different additives, although I didn't have any slamola here, which I thought was interesting. But a ton of different things. Always getting the powdered bloody tuna, always. I'm always putting that in there. It is an additive that works great for summer runs, springers, fall Chinook. That gets added in because there's different additives that are in here, bite stimulants that all help out with getting more bites. Okay, so this always goes in, and there's no real amount. I just put in as much as I think looks good and go from there, right? And that's why we have multiple different flavors. Then I'm starting to make different bases, right? If I've got salmon slammer, which is extremely important in a lot of different things, is my favorite scent. If it's the marinade or if it's the oil or if it's the gel, salmon slammer is at hand a lot in my boat for all species, okay? There's a lot of things to be said about garlic and this and that, but salmon slammer is a good one. Cooney sauce from Millennial, had a lot of luck with that. But you can see shrimp, then you got fish-based, and then you're gonna see steelhead combo. Why would you have that in there? Steelhead combo is a very sweet scent, okay? Overall, if you're gonna say if a different scent is hot or sweet, the steelhead combo is more of a sweet scent. And you can add that in with all these other things and really change. Does it work every time? No. But depending on where you are, like really close to the salt water, yeah, really kind of like something sweet. Again, it's a theory. Everybody's got their own take. Then the further away you go, more hot, right? Again, these are just things that you can use to change up those scents a little bit. But whatever you decide to do, anise, excellent in a number of different ways that you can utilize these different scents. But again, there's so many of them there. When you go over to Fisherman's and you look at that big wall of Procure bait scents, right? It can be a little confusing because you're going to see so many different scents. So my advice, pick out a handful, right, of what it is that you've already got a little bit of experience with and start adding that in. And always remember, if you do use a super gel, like this one here, that is going to make that bait very sticky, okay? It's going to get on those baits. It makes it a little bit harder to clean them off when you do clean them. Like we just talked about, super important to do so. So make sure you get all that stuff off so it doesn't have a chance to rot and have just a funky smell where the fish just don't like it. Also, don't overlook the water-soluble scents in that particular base when you're making those scents, because that actually gets through the tuna very, very quickly, that additional scent. So again, have just regular tuna at least, okay, so that you have that base, right? And then start doctoring up a couple of different flavors so you can start playing with it a little bit. So again, hopefully this is not rocket science. Everybody's talked about this for a long time, but don't overthink it. Come up with one that you like yourself. And then in the end, you're going to find scents that work for springers and one that works for summers and one that works for falls. And you might even find one that works for all of them. But you will certainly find something that you're confident in. And that's more important than pretty much anything, is what you are confident in is what you will catch fish with. Anyway, there you go. That's your Chevy Silverado, additional Chevy Silverado tech tip of the week. All right.